Winter storm warnings have now been issued for a big chunk of our area as we prepare for round 2. Significant snow is on the move. We'll track it coming up.
On WKYT, we rode along with a Lexington salt truck driver to see what she faces out there on the roads. We'll have some of her advice for drivers coming up this morning.
And the major airlines preparing for a possibility of a massive snowstorm expected to hit this weekend. How they're hoping to alleviate some of the travel headaches.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning and welcome in. We're facing it now. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith, facing a lot of action with the weather. And let's go to Jim to see what exactly is going to happen.
It is going to be a mess around here as we go through the overnight and especially into the day tomorrow. We'll start tracking another wintry system. This has even more potential than the most recent one that laid a couple of inches up to maybe 5 or 6 inches across parts of our area yesterday. Winter storm warning in effect for Lexington, Richmond, up toward Frankfort, and you've got kind of funny little shaping on it right now, at least, all the way up into southern Ohio at the moment. We will see all of these counties change to something before it's all said and done. Our Defender radar network quiet this morning, but we expand our view and our storm is coming together. And at the moment, the moisture supply doesn't look like it's anything significant. But I promise, once it gets a little bit closer to us and starts to tap moisture straight out of the Gulf of Mexico, it's going to pour it on through the day tomorrow and into your Saturday. We will track it. I'll show you an updated call for snowfall here in just a few minutes.
Okay, so a lot going on. It is another snow day for Fayette County schools and dozens of other school districts in our viewing area. Although the next bit of snow isn't expected until some point later this evening into tonight, Lexington streets and road crews have been busy trying to dig out from what was left behind by yesterday's system.
And after clearing the major roads, they turned their attention to side streets, neighborhoods, in my opinion, in really good shape, a lot of them. But some of those streets are still snow covered this morning. Monique Blair rode along with a salt truck driver to get an inside look at what they're facing out there.
Once the snow falls, it's inevitable. You will see the snowplow trucks out in full force.
We're probably doing 12 hours every day this week. Here's what I started out.
35, 515, so you've done 109 miles today.
Yeah.
Streets and Roads equipment operator Cindy Bishop says not only does this job require patience on her end, but also from drivers. These trucks sometimes have to move at a slower pace than the speed limit in order to apply the salt or plow the roads.
Don't be frustrated at me. I'm just trying to make the road safer for you.
The priority 1 and 2 streets were cleared by mid-afternoon Wednesday. Then it was time to move to streets ranked 3 and 4. Typically, these are side streets and residential streets.
This 38, go ahead, Rob.
Cindy, we've been getting some calls about some slick spots on Sharkey Way. Could you go check it out, please?
But moving the plow through some of the side streets posed a problem.
See, here's a narrow one with cars on both sides. But
After her 12-hour shift, Bishop called it a night, but she knows it'll be a quick turnaround until she's back at it again.
me, I take pride in my work. And when those roads are cleared, I love it. I just love it. So when I can't get them clear because that snow just keeps coming, it just breaks my heart.
Well, county officials say there are some things you can do to actually help out during snow events. They ask that you clear any fire hydrants that are near your home. Don't park on any of the ranked streets. Also, if you can, clear the sidewalk in front of your home.
Some of the things that you can do, these ranked roads are the only ones that are going to be plowed in a typical snow event. Additional roads may be added if we get more than 5 inches of snow. You can find a map of all the ranked roads in Fayette County at WKYT.com. It's also been a busy 24 hours for Lexington police, who say they worked more than 100 crashes since the snow started falling yesterday. Lexington police say slick road conditions played a role in a crash involving a Lexington police cruiser last night. That one happened at Manowar Boulevard and Crosby Drive. Police say the driver of a car ran a red light, slid, and hit the cruiser. No one was injured.
Drivers in Scott County also had trouble out on the road. Some of them remain snow covered this morning. Garrett Weimer talked to drivers about road conditions around Georgetown.
Commuters say the drive home was quite a bit smoother than it was on their way to work. Well, the drive to work this morning was pretty messy. They had not cleared the roads, they had not salted.
And it wasn't even fun for the trucks. You could tell that they were struggling and a little nervous about things, and it just got, it was a mess this morning.
By the time it turned dark, drivers say most roads were taken care of, although they still played it safe.
Just driving slow and watching the road and watching what's around you. Look for the slick spots and the black ice, and just drive careful. Use caution.
J.R. Brandenburg with Scott County's road department says he sent trucks out at 5 a.m. and again at lunchtime to salt and plow. He says they went out for round number 3 later in the evening to help deal with possible refreezing overnight. In all, he says they treated about 2,500 miles of roads, and it won't be long until they and everyone else will be back at it again.
We were going about 55 miles.
That includes Brian Baker, whose hour and 20-minute commute to work took nearly double that in the morning. He says he already knows how he'll handle more slick and snowy roads.
I'm going to wake up a lot earlier that day than I did today.
In Scott County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Well, Scott County schools already closed today. The county road supervisor says they'll spend the day making minor repairs and getting ready for the next round of winter weather coming later tonight.
Some of the highest snowfall totals from yesterday's storm came from southern Kentucky. Snow-covered roads slowed the drivers down in Lincoln County, but some people told us they had to go to work despite the weather. One postal carrier said she was being extra careful and keeping an eye on other drivers, too.
If you don't, they will run over you. They try to go around you. When you stop, they'll go around you instead of waiting on you. It's really treacherous out here right now.
In neighboring Pulaski County, police said they stayed busy working crashes all day. Many of those involved cars that had slid off roads.
Well, snow and icy conditions made for dangerous and difficult driving around D.C. yesterday, even for the presidential motorcade. President Barack Obama returned to a snowy Washington last night after spending the day in Detroit. Because of the heavy snow, he was driven back to Washington instead of taking a Marine One helicopter. This comes ahead of a very serious snowstorm forecast for the Mid-Atlantic region in the next few days, the same system that we're dealing with. The National Weather Service says it could dump anywhere between 12 to 24 inches of snow on the East Coast by Saturday night.
Even the major airlines are preparing for the possibility of a massive snowstorm this weekend throughout the U.S. American, Southwest, and Delta Airlines among those already issuing travel waivers to customers ahead of the storm. American is allowing customers traveling through 9 airports between Philadelphia and Southern Virginia to change flights without penalty. Southwest is allowing its customers from Boston to Washington to reschedule if they plan to fly Friday or Saturday. The airlines say they should know sometime today what flights they will have to cancel. Stay on top of the snow and the traffic with the WKYT Weather Plus traffic app. You can download it for free in the app or Google Play stores. Time this morning is 4:38. WKYT This Morning is just getting started.
Well, you already teach your kids to look both ways before crossing the street. Mom 70 explains another crucial safety tip up ahead.
And there you see it. The new call for snowfall. Anywhere from 8 to 14 inches of snow across central and parts of eastern Kentucky. We will assess this a little more closely coming up. We are about to track a doozy of a winter storm that'll be tracking across a big chunk of the country. Not only will it impact us here in Kentucky on a significant level, it's going to impact several other folks on maybe even worse level, especially along the East Coast, where we could see 15, 20, 30 inches widespread. A good possibility there. Around here, it's not going to be far from that, in all honesty. Winter storm warning in effect already for the folks here in central Kentucky. And what we'll see is more counties highlighted and added in some different variation. Maybe it's not a winter storm warning for everybody. Maybe they'll go with some types of advisories. I'm not sure what the setup's going to be when that comes out. We don't issue the warnings, watches, anything like that. We just tell you about them afterward, but we can tell you what to expect. Oh, can we ever? We have a doozy coming, as I said. Radar network this morning, quiet, no snowy precipitation showing up out there. Our hour-by-hour forecast, however, we'll show you by the time we get past midnight into the 1, 2 o'clock hour, we're tracking some of that wintry mix to our south. This is when it all begins, friends. Starts tracking into the area. That's what the pink shows. Now, what we're getting is a little bit of a warm air mass trying to shoot in, which would allow anything falling from the sky to make a transition over to the mix. So when you get a warm layer, it turns out to be something like that. we get closer to the 6 o'clock hour, with this particular run of the model, which I think has a really good handle on it, it starts breaking out into snow across parts of central Kentucky, even getting into Fayette County at that point as well. And you're still watching that mixing line and even perhaps some rain in southern Kentucky. That's a good possibility, because when you see our snowfall forecast map here in just a moment, you're going to be like, oh, okay, we see that that would be the reason why we're cutting back on some of the totals, because you throw a little rain into the mix. Then the cold air is just really dominant, and it just runs the show here as we are tracking snow from basically 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock on Friday, still getting more of a mix and maybe rain at that period for the folks in southern Kentucky. And there you see the snow still going on and going strong by noontime. And then we're at 5 o'clock, mixing and even some rain. It's trying to push close to 40 degrees there in Middlesboro. That is a real possibility out of this system, too. Keep that in mind. We go on through the day on Friday. So not only at this point are we dealing with snow, we're dealing with the winds picking up, and we're talking 30 to 35 miles per hour. This is nothing to overlook either, because heavy wet snow, especially initially, and then you throw in the heavy winds, whew, we have all kinds of issues coming at us. We're going now into your Saturday, early on Saturday, still snowing in many areas, holding on by 9 o'clock Saturday morning, and we're getting into the afternoon, and it's finally starting to disappear as far as the widespread coverage is concerned. That is a long time to deal with heavy bands of snow, and that is why you see 8 to 14 inches showing up over a big chunk of the area, because that area highlighted, if you notice with our forecast graphic, that was the area that had the snow for the most significant amount of time. But down to the south, where you're getting more of a mix and even rain from time to time for an extended period initially, 3 to 8 there into Whitley, McCrary, Bell County, 5 to 12 toward Hazard, back into perhaps London. And again, these lines are not 100%. It might shift just a little bit. This is to give you a general idea of what could very well be coming our way as we go into tonight and all the way through your Saturday. Now, here is a look at our 7-day forecast. Today, we're talking maybe a night mix. That's with the initial batch getting in across southern Kentucky, and then Friday, full-on winter storm. There is a chance, with those winds and visibilities being reduced the way they will likely be reduced, that we could have a full-on, perhaps blizzard warning issued very close to us, maybe in parts of eastern Kentucky. It is a real possibility, because it's not even really about the snow. When you think of blizzard, you think, oh, it's got to be 6 feet or something significant. It has a lot more to do with the wind and visibility and those types of conditions that deteriorate rather rapidly. So it's not about which the snow totals are nothing to sneeze at, you know, because we're going to have significant amounts.
Well, we know it's anticipated nearby in Northern Virginia going into the Washington, D.C. area. So, yeah, it's close enough that we need to watch it, right?
Shut the government down kind of system, you know,
right.
Those kinds.
Right.
It's going to be brutal there.
Yep. All right, Jim, thank you. It's 4:46. Your parents probably had lots of advice for you when you were younger, like look both ways before you cross the road, that sort of thing.
That's good advice. Now it's things like don't text and walk.
Yeah.
That's the newest tip when it comes to pedestrian safety. Here's today's Mom's Everyday Minute.
Shockingly, 44 children a day are hit by cars or other vehicles in this nation. Walking to and from school is a great thing, but not until our children take an important safety lesson. Safe Kids offers several safety tips parents can share with their kids. First, use crosswalks and always look left and right before crossing the street. If you're waiting to cross the street and come in contact with a car, make eye contact with the driver and wait to proceed. Oftentimes, if you do that, the car will stop and let you cross safely. Have a child walk with a group of other children. There's power in numbers. Also, encourage your child not to run through parking lots. Julie Anderson with Safe Kids says in today's world, there's another new threat.
Everybody's got a device of some kind that they're looking at. If you're trying to walk and look at a device, it doesn't normally work very well. It's a good idea for all of us to, when we're trying to walk, and teach our kids that when we try to cross the street, to put the device down.
We certainly don't want to discourage children from walking to school or elsewhere. With a few safety tips in mind, they can get exercise, fresh air, and freedom. For more tips to make mom's life easier, visit momseveryday.com.
For these tips and more, go to WKYT.com, click on Moms Every Day.
And there you'll find the latest forecast, the closings and delays, and all the news as well. Great to have you with us. 4:48 right now.
Well, a Lexington family wants some big money on national television, and they're returning tonight to try and do it all again. We'll tell you after the break. Welcome back. It's 4:50. Kentucky U.S. Senator Rand Paul says don't count him out in the race for the Republican presidential nomination.
Senator Paul was not part of last week's main Republican debate because organizers said his poll numbers were too low. He refused to take part in an undercard debate. He says without him, voters won't get to hear about the issues that he feels are very important.
I'm the one candidate that talks about that the government shouldn't collect all your phone records. I'm the one candidate that says we shouldn't put young people in jail for marijuana mistakes. But I'm also one who says, you know what, making the sand glow and being at war in the Middle East is probably maybe not in our best interest.
The Iowa caucus is coming up soon on February 1st. Senator Paul says his campaign has already made 5,000 calls to Iowa voters. The Kentucky Senate has passed a bill that would make convicted drunk drivers wait 10 years before their convictions come off their records. Right now, drunk driving offenses only count against each other if they occur within a 5-year period. A previous offender arrested for DUI after that period is treated as a first-time offender. The bill now goes to the House. State corrections leaders are worrying that the bill would only add to the state's prison population.
A bill designed to protect children riding bicycles in Kentucky is moving forward. The Brain Injury Alliance of Kentucky says House Bill 254, also called TJ's bill, has now been assigned to the House Transportation Committee. It was filed last week. The bill is named after 13-year-old TJ Floyd, who suffered a life-changing head injury 5 years ago in a bicycle accident. It would require children under age 12 to wear a helmet while riding a bicycle on a public roadway or bike path. A Lexington family won some big money on national television. The Pendleton family won the top prize of $20,000 on last night's episode of Family Feud. They'll be back tonight to try for even more money. You'll be able to see them on Family Feud tonight at 7:30 on the CW Lexington.
All right.
It's a fun show. I like that guy, Steve
Yeah,
Harvey.
and some familiar faces there to tune in and watch. Coming up next, a look at some of the stories that we're working on for you this morning.
We'll also have another look at your interesting, let's just say, forecast.
Good word. Good morning, 4:56 now, here on WKYT This Morning.
It is time right now to take a look at some of the stories we're working on for you this morning.
It is snow day number 2 for most of our viewing area, including kids here in Fayette County. Lexington streets and road crews have been busy trying to dig out of what was left behind from yesterday's system. And coming up on WKYT News starting here at 5, more on what you can expect if you're heading out this morning.
Well, even the major airlines preparing for the possibility of a massive snowstorm this weekend. American, Southwest, and Delta among the airlines already issuing travel waivers to customers ahead of the storm. The airlines say they should know sometime today what flights they will have to cancel.
Well, this thing's going to be disruptive to much of the country.
Oh, yeah.
So let's check in with Jim right now, see what is headed our way.
And as you can see now, guys, within the past few minutes, whole thing almost covered up with the winter storm warning. And as I said, eventually everybody's going to see something different than a winter storm watch. A winter storm watch is just to prepare you that something is changing and something big is going to happen, and will likely change the way that everything is, the outlook is concerned when the system gets closer. Now the winter storm warning has been issued out there for this morning. And the reason? Here it is. How about 8 to 14 inches of snow? Look at the blood flowing. Well, it's at Lexington to Moorhead, Richmond. A little bit less across extreme southern parts of Kentucky as they likely get on more of a wintry mix and maybe even some rain. We'll track all of that and a whole lot more for you here on WKYT this morning, coming up at 5 o'clock.